What is up, guys? It is Jed Wrestling here, back again with another video, and today we have Elite Series 101 through 115 rating. This has been a series that I've been doing for a while. We did basically 20 series roughly at a time, and now we finally come to Elite Series 101 to 115. I'll probably make shorts or something rating the 116, 117 as those come out I just don't want to just wait 20 series and then do another video. That's probably how I'm going to keep up with it. But this is definitely a series that I plan to keep up with, but this will probably be the last actual rating video that we do 101 through 115 today. How about we start with Elite Series 101 from 2023? Ricochet, Johnny Knoxville, Cody Rhodes, Sonya Deville, Kevin Owens, and Mr. America. I thought this was a really solid series when it first came out. A lot of figures that I was excited for, a lot of figures that had some really good posing, but I had to go with the Elite 101 Cody Rhodes. There's some elements of this figure I don't like. It doesn't have the updated weight belt. It doesn't it's this is the figure that started the trend of the exact same head sculpt for basically forever now. We never get new Cody head sculpts, which I feel like that's something Mattel needs to hop on. Definitely give us some new Cody Rhodes heads. Now, as for what this was at the time, this was his first Elite as the American Nightmare, coming back from AEW, coming to WWE at WrestleMania 38. The blue pants. I love the articulation on this figure. Like when I first got it in hand, the posing was so immaculate. I don't know what it was, but it just felt so good in the hand. I could just tell that that was a quality action figure, was the Elite 101 Cody Rhodes. And the blue attire is also pretty solid, so that is going to be my favorite figure out of the series. Worst might be a hot take, but I'm gonna go with Mr. America. I just feel like this is one that they need to re-release because this one in particular had all the issues that Hogan figures used to have. That classic lean torso that doesn't really fit him. That classic skin tone. They definitely could have updated his skin tone more like that Elite that you see back there on my 80s shelf. They could have gone with something more akin to that. Everything else, I think it's cool. I think it's a cool representation of a ruthless aggression style Mr. America Hulk Hogan, if you will. I like the accessories. I like basically everything about it except the skin tone and the torso. And it really shows how good of series Elite 101 was. I thought it was a really solid and underrated series. We now move on to Elite Series 102. We got Commissioner Foley, Edge, Gunther, Austin Theory, Rhea Ripley, and Sami Zayn. This series is memorable for a lot of things. Not only did it give us a lot of fresh new characters that we hadn't seen in a while, but it also gave us the final ever Elite figure of the Rated R Superstar Edge. As for the best figure out of the series, gotta go with Gunther. This figure is so realistic. I love the red robe. It's just really nice. I love the head sculpt, the stern facial expression for Gunther. The proportions are very accurate to Gunther in real life. Unlike the Ultimate Edition, in my opinion, I thought the Elite beat out the Ultimate here for the Ring General Gunther. He didn't come with an IC title, but he didn't have that when he first debuted this attire, so Mattel gets a pass for that. And it's still the Gunther I use to this day. It's a really versatile figure. They are going to be re-releasing it soon with a new paint job in the Greatest Hits line, which looks pretty good. Might pick that up, you never know. But as for right now, I really like this Elite 102 Gunther, and it is my favorite figure out of the series. Worst is going to be Commissioner Foley. Only thing here is the painted on shirt. I feel like I might be wrong here, but I feel like when they first announced this figure, they showed the shirt as cloth. It was like a computer generated image, and they had the shirt separate from the torso, which would, of course would imply that it would be a removable shirt and it wouldn't be painted on. But then we got to the release of the figure and it was painted on, which was kind of unfortunate. I'll try to find that render. If so, I'll put it up on the screen. If, of course, on the chance that I am correct about that original render. But the painted on shirt kind of holds it back here. It's got some parts that not a lot of people are too fond of on the Foley figures, so it's got to get the worst figure out of the series spot. Elite 102 is pretty solid though. Elite 103, Montez Ford, Angelo Dawkins, Roman Reigns, Liv Morgan, Bobby Lashley, and Stardust. Best, you gotta go with Montez Ford. These updated Street Profits were absolutely beautiful. The elastic cloth shirts, the really cool basketball sort of inspired gear with the jerseys, all the accessories that came with the Montez Ford in particular. You got the cup, you got the chain, you got the glasses, the extra hands, the jersey, obviously. Such an awesome Montez Ford. Could have gone with Angelo Dawkins, but I just feel like the accessories with the Montez Ford are what really sets it apart from Angelo Dawkins. The Angelo Dawkins was really, really solid. I was a fan of that, but I like the Montez Ford better, so I got to give it the best figure out of the series spot. And the worst is going to be Roman Reigns. Not really much to say here. It was the first Roman Reigns where we saw the updated one's hands with the red gauntlet, so that's pretty cool. But it's got that Amazon head sculpt that not many people like. It's basically just the same as a bunch of other Roman Reigns figures we'd seen. Not too much different stuff because we'd seen the Ulafala, we'd seen the belt with the Roman Reigns side plates. Even we'd seen all the parts. We hadn't seen the red boot, like the red decals on the boots up to this point, so that's a bit of a plus. But as for Roman Reigns, at least in this figure, he is my least favorite out of the series. Of course, Elite 103. We now move on to Elite Series 104. We got Braun Breaker and his dad Rick Steiner, as well as Solo Sikoa, Dakota Kai, AJ Styles, and Drew McIntyre. Best, gotta give it to AJ Styles. This new torso is beautiful. Personally, I wasn't really big on this torso when they first announced it. I'm like, a Sin Cara torso? I feel like that's a little small for AJ Styles. But upon getting it in hand, because I have this figure, upon getting it in hand, it really does resemble AJ's torso. Not sure if they continued the Sin Cara torso on the Elite 116. I forget which exact torso they had on him. But the Sin Cara torso definitely works well for AJ Styles, and the attire is so darn cool. The red, finally, just different colors on an AJ Styles. We'd seen so many just black attires. Now we got the red, really, really nice, cool, really cool AJ Styles. Sort of like an OC look, even though we never got the Good Brothers, unfortunately. And now that they're released, we will never get those, which is kind of unfortunate unless they re-sign, which I don't think they will. But we will never get updated Good Brothers. That's kind of a shame. But as for the AJ Styles, I am a really big fan of that one, so it has to get the best figure spot for me. Worst, I feel like it's kind of obvious. Solo Sikoa. This figure was really skinny when it first came out. A lot of people were disappointed in this Solo Sikoa. Proportions wise, attire wise, it's pretty cool. I like the ones, the way the one shirt has Velcro-less on the back, so you have the little decal. I like the white towel, even though it's not black, it's still pretty cool. But just Solo, the skinny proportions, especially after we got the updated like Elite 107 Solo, and then the top pick Solo. This one does not look very good in comparison, so it has to be my least favorite figure out of the series. Elite 105, we finally got some new packaging up in here. We got Dominic Mysterio, Io Sky, Carmelo Hayes, Scott Steiner, Braun Strowman, and Johnny Gargano. Such a great series, man. A lot of fresh figures, a lot of cool figures. I have basically almost every figure from this series. I just don't have the Carmelo Hayes, and I still need to track down the Braun Strowman. I've been looking for that figure for what seems like forever. But as for the best, you got to go with Dominic Mysterio. I was in love with this figure when I first got it in hand. It was my first Dominic Mysterio because I missed out on the Elite 109. Or the Elite 89, excuse me. So this Dominic was really, really awesome. Updated skin tone, Judgment Day attire. He's got the Judgment Day shirt, updated mullet, even though it's sort of outdated now. He's got a longer mullet. But for what it is, at the time, Dominic Mysterio was definitely the best figure out of the series. A few I could have gone with EO, could have gone with Scott Steiner, but Dominic was definitely my favorite figure out of the series. As for my least favorite, I had to go with Carmelo Hayes. I just don't like this head sculpt, man. I don't know what it is about it. This head sculpt just looks really cartoony to me, and I'm not a fan of it. As for the purple attire, that's awesome. I mean, the red attire was pretty cool too, because that was a chase. They did purple and red. I like the purple. The purple's pretty cool. But as for the head sculpt, it just brings this figure down. I don't like the head sculpt. And I feel like they need to make a new Carmelo Hayes figure with a new head sculpt, maybe in a new attire he's worn on the main roster, like the black or something. But at this stage, this is our only Carmelo Elite that we have, with no signs of another one coming. So it's gotta be the worst figure out of the series. That was just a big disappointment for me. That Carmelo Hayes. I was pretty excited. I was pretty hyped for it, but I just don't like the head sculpt, so I did not buy that Carmelo Hayes. 106, Roxanne Perez, Sami Zayn, Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Paul Bearer, and Chad Gable. This is another really good series with a lot of really good figures that I could have gone with, but I went with Chad Gable. We just hadn't seen an updated Chad Gable in a long time, and this one did not disappoint. Such a beast of a figure, poses around awesome. I love the attire. So I still hold that Chad Gable to a high regard to this day, even though it's pretty old. And I do think we could get a new updated Chad Gable though. Maybe his American made gear, sort of like the Kurt Angle Captain America style Chad Gable singlet. We could get an updated Chad Gable, maybe to go with some Creed brothers and maybe an Ivy Nile possibly. But as for this one's still really good. I love that Chad Gable. Worst figure out of the series is going to be Roxanne Perez. Kind of the same issue as the Carmelo Hayes, just the head sculpt. I don't feel like captures Roxanne Perez the best. I think it's missing. It just looks like it's missing something. Maybe some lipstick. I don't know, because Roxanne has a lipstick a lot when she's in the ring. But I just feel like there's something missing from this head sculpt. But I still like the belt. I like the gear. Just the head sculpt holds it back a little bit. Elite 107. You got Grayson Waller, Solo Sikoa, Finn Balor, Otis, Undertaker, and Cora Jade. Best is might be a hot take, but I went with the Undertaker. I think this is a really cool figure. A lot of good posing you can get out of it. It's like the Raw 30 years anniversary taker, and it's really awesome. Just like a post retirement Undertaker, really versatile. You know, I'm a sucker for my promo gears on figures, so that Undertaker is definitely really cool. Worst, I'm gonna go with Cora Jade. No real reason why. I don't really have any gripes with the Cora Jade as a whole, but I just feel like next to everything else out of this series, she just couldn't stand up well, so she's gonna be the worst out of the series. Only 108, we have LA Knight, Bronson Reed, Chelsea Green, Omos, Terry Gordy, and Brock Lesnar. Best figure out of the series is going to be Chelsea Green. I like the skirt a lot. They put a lot of time into the cloth black skirt. She's got the hat. The gear's pretty solid. The head sculpt is okay. I think they could have had a slightly better resemblance of her. But this is still a really good figure of our greatest and longest reigning Women's United States champion of all time, Chelsea Green. And the worst is going to be Brock Lesnar. Denim jacket really could have been cloth. I think that would have been cool. And just the open mouth face is just not. It just doesn't do it for me. It's not like realistic at all. His mouth is just way too massive. Just looks very cartoony, and I'm not really a fan of it. So Brock Lesnar is going to be my least favorite out of the series. And of course, you couple that with the amount of Brock Lesnar's we'd seen up to that point, and there's just nothing really too fresh here, so he's definitely going to be my least out of Elite 108. Elite 109, Seth freaking Rollins, Bailey, Dominic Mysterio, Cody Rhodes, Damian Priest, and Shinsuke Nakamura. Another fresh series with a lot of new, not necessarily like new characters, but a lot of new attires that we hadn't seen. With a lot of new attires of people we hadn't seen in the line in a while. People like Damian Priest with the Judgment Day look, Seth, he had the new world title, Bailey of Damage Control. Best is going to be Seth Rollins. Gold attire is really cool. I do think we get too many black and gold sets, especially when you just look at the amount of attires we hadn't seen, like the day one 2022 gear, for example, and then they just keep bumping out these black and gold sets. But out of those, I think this one is the best. He comes with the updated World Heavyweight Championship, Seth Rollins side plates. Just some really good posability with this figure. I like the gold gear, updated blonde highlights in the hair, first elite that we'd seen of that. Really awesome Seth Rollins figure. One of my favorite Seth elites that they've ever done. I enjoy this figure a lot. So that's going to be my favorite. And then my least favorite figure is going to be Cody Rhodes. Man, I just remember when they announced Elite 109, I'm like, oh my gosh, another Cody Rhodes. What's it gonna be? Royal Rumble gear, which I'll give it to them. We did see later on, but just then they announced like this suited one, and I'm like, what the heck, dude? this was just really disappointing. We did not need a suited Elite Cody Rhodes. I still don't think we need a suited Elite Cody Rhodes, honestly. They have another one on the way. And dude, I just don't care. I don't care for suited Cody Rhodes. The basic is really cool, but just we don't need a suited Elite of Cody Rhodes. So that's definitely going to be my least favorite figure out of the series. I'm just not a fan. Elite 110, Rhea Ripley, Elton Prince, Kit Wilson, Austin Theory, Butch, Roman Reigns, and Bruno Sammartino. Best is going to be Rhea Ripley. This was her updated look. It's a very specific like attire, so it's not going to be all that versatile if you want like a current updated Rhea Ripley. But yeah, just the white and purple gear is really really cool. Updated proportions, updated head sculpt. She's got the SmackDown Women's title with the Rhea Ripley side plates. Really, really nice Rhea Ripley figure. Definitely better than her first go around in Elite 102 that we saw earlier. Then the worst is going to be this was hard, but I had to go with Bruno Sammartino. It's just very similar to the Elite 25 that we saw before, and I do still enjoy this figure, but I just feel like it's a little too bland to stand up to all these other figures. Especially with like the fresh new characters that we see, like Pretty Deadly. We've never seen Pretty Deadly. Like Butch, we hadn't seen a Butch in a while, so Bruno Sammartino definitely couldn't stand up to the rest of them, unfortunately. Elite Series 111. This is a series that is pretty decent. It's definitely grown on me a bit as time has gone on. I was a little disappointed originally, but as for Elite 111 now, I think it's a pretty solid series. Cody Rhodes, Trish Stratus, The Sandman, Finn Balor, Tony D'Angelo, and Ricochet, his final figure before he left and went to AEW. Best, you gotta give it to the Sandman. We've never seen a Sandman Mattel figure before. A lot of people were raving about this figure when it first came out, and it's really cool. I like the pants design. I like the white ECW cloth shirt. Very versatile. You could use that on anybody. It's always cool, especially when we see legends of just fresh characters that we've never seen before. So that Sandman is awesome. And the worst is going to be Trish Stratus. Head sculpt wasn't really feeling it, and I just feel like she's a little short. Like you probably can't tell with this photo of the figure in the box, but it's definitely a little short, especially when you compare it to her other figures. So it is based off of her current day run, which I like. I like the cloth jacket, the hat's cool. But as for the height and the head sculpt, holds that Trish Stratus back, so she's going to be my least favorite figure out of the series. Elite 112, we got Seth Rollins, Becky Lynch, Channing Stacks Lorenzo, JD McDonough, Bray Wyatt, and Xavier Woods. Best, gotta give it to Seth Rollins once again. I know I was kind of talking about the black and gold attires before, and even then, I feel like there's a lot of gripes with this figure. Mainly the leg articulation. The leg articulation on my Elite 112 Seth Rollins was so stiff that it actually snapped, unfortunately, and I'm obviously not able to get it back on. So that's a massive shame for the Elite 112 Seth Rollins. But aesthetically, I like this attire. I like the new World Heavyweight title. The head sculpt is cool. So it's gotta be my least, I mean my favorite figure out of the series. Excuse me. But like I said, we definitely see too many black and gold Seth Rollinses. But this one just gets a pass for Elite 112. Worst is going to be Becky Lynch. Once again, just the head sculpt. I feel like they're never able to nail the head sculpts on Becky Lynch's hardly. The attire is pretty cool. I like the yellow and the green, a very unique color combination. She also had a chase, which was black and silver. I think the yellow and the green is cooler. It's just more of an adventurous attire. But as for the Becky Lynch, she's gonna be my least favorite figure out of the series. Elite 113, Carlito, Tiffany Stratton, Trick Williams, Dragon Lee, Kofi Kingston, and CM Punk. Best out of the series, gotta give it to Carlito. A lot of people didn't like the head sculpt or the skin tone. Head sculpt is actually good when you get it in hand. As far as the skin tone, I still don't think it 100% matches Carlito. I think they should upgrade him. But everything else, this was a really unique figure when it first came out. I like the apple. Like the apple's like removable from the hand, which is really, really cool. He's got the white gear. He's got the Carlito shirt with the Puerto Rican flag going down. Then it says Carlito, which is really nice. I like this Carlito a heck of a lot, and it is my favorite figure out of the series. And my least favorite figure, this was tough, not gonna lie. Not a lot of options for my least favorite figure out of the series. I think all of these figures are good in their own right, but worst, gotta give it to Dragon Lee, unfortunately. It's just only really because of the rubber jacket, honestly. If this jacket was cloth, this figure would have taken a massive step up. But really the only gripe I have with it is the rubber jacket. Everything else is cool. I heard that it's a really fun figure to pose around, but the Dragon Lee is definitely going to be my least favorite figure out of the series. Elite 114, in my opinion, one of the best Elite series of all time. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso, Zoe Stark, Ilya Dragunov, Braun Breaker, and Tommaso Ciampa. So many good figures in this series. I know we're at the stage where a lot of these figures were getting a little stiff mostly in the legs and the knees. But dude, this series was just so cool. Definitely one of the best series they've ever done, in my opinion at least. Best, kind of obvious, gotta go with Jey Uso, Yeet. And this was just really, really cool, really fresh for us to get a Yeet Jey Uso. We wanted one for so long. The chase was also awesome, and I'm a massive Jey Uso fan, so obviously I copped both the regular and the chase out of Elite 114. And this Jey Uso was just really, really awesome. One of my favorite figures in my entire collection, if not my favorite. I just enjoy that Jey Uso a lot. Worst is going to be Zoe Stark. Once again, she had quite a lot to contend with here, so I don't think there's anything here that would really put her above anybody else. But it's still pretty cool. I like the red gear. I like the half red, half light blue jacket, which was cloth, which was really cool to see. But as for Zoe Stark, she's definitely going to be my least favorite out of the series. And the last series we will be looking at today is Elite Series 115, the most recent Elite Series. CM Punk, Kairi Sane, Tyler Bate, Drew McIntyre, The Rock, and R-Truth. Best is going to be Kairi Sane. There were a few options here, but I just think the detail on this Kairi Sane and the hair and the attire just really puts it over the top. We'd waited for an updated Kairi Sane for a while, and they definitely did not disappoint with this one. I like that Kairi Sane a lot, and it's definitely one that I'm going to cop sooner rather than later. And then the worst is going to be Drew McIntyre. You guys know I like Drew McIntyre, but this figure was just, I just feel like there's a lot of things they could have done to make it different. I think he could have had a new head sculpt, maybe like do like a promo gear or something, because we're seeing an Ultimate Edition Drew really soon, and really soon after this, and it's basically like the same attire. I don't know why they couldn't have just went with something different, but the chase, I'll give it that. The chase is really awesome. The white gear, white and gold Drew McIntyre. Might cop that one, you never know. But as for the regular version, that would definitely be my least favorite figure out of the series. And you guys know I don't count chases in my rating videos, so Drew would definitely be my least favorite out of the series, just because we've seen so many. But that has been my Elite Series 101 to 115 ranking. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please smash a like if you did, and subscribe to Jed Wrestling. We're inching towards 300 subscribers. We are close. I can feel it. Jed Wrestling out.